Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has received a lot of flack since its release, mainly because the game feels unfinished. There are numerous technical issues and the graphics leave a lot to be desired. It does have its strengths. I absolutely love the music in this game, which is why I feature it in every single one of my videos. Plus, the open world aspect is why I have hundreds of hours in this game. It's a childhood dream come true. The freedom to run, climb, swim, and fly anywhere in the Pokemon world is worth celebrating. Pair that with the fact that Pokemon roam freely in the wild, and it's clear why I've spent so much time playing this game and shiny hunting even years after its release. Shiny hunting is a lot of fun, but it can get boring at times. Wow, we are not doing well, so I've got to find ways to keep things interesting. One beautiful side effect of an open world game is the abundance of creative opportunities for challenges and exploration. To me, there is one standout open world game challenge that has been performed before, but never like this. So today we're going to dive into that. The idea is simple. Let's take the freedom this open world gives us and just throw it out the window. What if I tried to restrict my movement by only allowing myself to travel in a straight line with the goal of catching a rare shiny Pokemon? It would be pretty easy to catch just any old Pokemon since they're literally everywhere, but limiting myself to finding something rare like this should be a good challenge. So in this video, I'll be taking on my journey as I attempt to catch a shiny Pokemon while only traveling on a straight line. I'll share my strategies, the challenges I face, and the moment when I actually catch that shiny. Hope you enjoy. So recently, Asteroid Videos did a similar challenge where he tried to walk across the entire region in a straight line. You should go watch it, it's a good video. But as a bit of a spoiler, it just isn't really possible when you only use the character's movement without some goofy antics. When you start to consider every movement mechanical available, things become much more interesting. The game has blessed us with Koraidon, though if you're a weirdo who bought Pokemon Violet rather than Scarlet, you might be stuck with Miraidon. Either way, these legendary Pokemon give us a ton of movement options that we'll need to tackle the insane elevation changes throughout the game. With my movement plan figured out though, I have to solve the problem of where do I draw my straight line on the map? You know, I have to admit, I usually love to overanalyze every single little detail of my strategies, but for this challenge, I decided to take a different approach. Instead of meticulously plotting out the perfect path, I figured I'd just embrace a bit of randomness and see what happens. I literally just randomly generated an angle and slapped a line with that angle on top of a random Pokemon Center and called it a day. I should do that more often because that was a relatively stress-free process. Much easier than using a spreadsheet to determine the optimal shiny hunting path. What was not stress-free though was actually executing the plan of staying on the line in the game. Unfortunately, you aren't provided many tools to track your position and angle. The only thing you have is a mini-map that is only good at one thing: rotating. While you can lock your large screen map, there's no way to lock the minimap in one direction, which makes it incredibly easy to spin out of control. I was almost ready to scrap this idea, but then I came up with a pretty clever solution to ensure I'm following a straight line. If you look closely at the minimap, you'll notice a very subtle grid, and the compass surrounding it has colored markers for the 4 cardinal directions. By aligning this grid perfectly with the edges of these colored markers, you can ensure that you're always on the same line. With that though, I think I've gone over enough details, so it's time to talk over how the actual hunt went. The line I drew for myself was a beautiful stretch, starting at the Pokemon Center in Alfornada. If you head south, there's a small field that is interrupted by a towering cliff that overlooks the South Paldean Sea. If you head north along this line, the terrain transforms dramatically. The long stretch holds breathtakingly steep cliffs and deep valleys all the way to the imposing Glaciado Mountain. It's times like this I wish the game had slightly better graphics, because this has the potential to be a beautiful landscape. I also quickly realized during my first flyover here just how crucial Koraidon will be from navigating this area. While flying is undeniably important here, I quickly realized that its usefulness has limits. Once you're in the air, Pokemon simply don't spawn. I'm probably not going to find any Pokemon while I'm flying, and even if I do, if it's shiny, there's no way I'll be able to turn around and catch it. Climbing too proved to be nearly pointless. Every time I attempted to use this mechanic, it became almost impossible to maintain a straight line. Instead of going straight up, I found myself veering off at odd angles or jumping off course entirely. It's as if the game was designed to be an open world experience, not confined to a single line. I spent a good amount of time getting a feel for the terrain and adjusting my movement to fit this challenge, and overall it was surprisingly refreshing. Even the most trivial obstacles turned into small little problems to overcome. For instance, if I encountered a rock, I had to bunny hop over it instead of simply running around it like normal. And since climbing was off the table, I found myself backing up along my line, then gliding up and over large obstacles to clear them. Shiny hunting can get pretty dull if you fall into the same rhythm over and over and over again, but this experience was a fantastic change of pace. So here's your sign to try something something different. Hunt in a new game or impose some restrictions on yourself. I promise it'll make things more interesting and engaging. With that said, it was time to develop my strategy, and I realized a few key points. There were certain areas that became essentially off limits for my hunt. The line I was following went straight through regions where Pokemon simply don't spawn. For instance, one of Team Star's bases, Giacomo's to be exact, along with the city of Medali are located directly along my line, which means I can't hunt there. I also mentioned the gigantic Glaciato Mountain, and to be honest, while it's beautiful, I just can't hunt there. The terrain is just too steep, and since I can't shiny hunt while climbing or flying, I focused on the other sections of the line when it came to hunting. This leaves me with a few options, the first of which is the ocean. Technically speaking, the North and South Paldean seas are on the line, and I could, in theory, swim back and forth in one of these seas until I found a shiny. However, I quickly discarded that idea because I found it a bit boring. Water areas are also notorious for having performance issues in this game, and as far as terrain goes, it's literally flat. I didn't think it'd be interesting, and I didn't really want to do it, so I avoided that part of the map as well. My second option that I came up with was to mindlessly travel across these areas until I spotted something, but I thought I could do even better. The base shiny hunting odds in this game are about 1 in 4,000, but keep in mind that I'm using the shiny charm, so my odds are about 1 in 1,400. There is a way though to increase these odds: outbreaks. These are locations that spawn randomly on the map, and there's a way to get the shiny odds down to about 1 in 500 using them. The hardest part about this plan though is to get these outbreaks to appear in the right location, on the line. Thankfully, there is a way to reset the locations of these outbreaks quickly by adjusting the game clock on the Switch, so my plan changed from mindlessly hunting to changing my system time until I managed to find an outbreak on the line. If you had to guess, how many times do you think it took me to get this? 10? 100? 1,000? 10,000? There were a lot that were close. Every time I spotted an outbreak with potential, I would fly over it only to find it's just off my line. These outbreaks do award some wiggle room since Pokemon can spawn in a rather large area around that outbreak symbol, but not that much wiggle room. The answer to how many times? 3. It took me 3 date resets to get the outbreak on the line. That's insane. I did not expect that. I thought I would be here for hours. I thought this would be one of the hardest parts of this hunt, but maybe I just got really lucky finding this Larvitar outbreak on the line so quickly. Now that I had what I was looking for, I could start working towards these sweet 1 in 500 odds. The first step to get there was to knock out 60 Pokemon. Usually this is pretty easy because you can move around freely, but with the movement restrictions I faced, I had to get a bit creative. For one, Pokemon don't really spawn in close proximity to the player, so as I knocked out Larvitar, the only ones remaining were simply too far away to interact with. One handy trick is that you can send your Pokemon out to battle for you from a good distance, which is exactly what I did with one of my favorites, Eternatus, my cute little princess. Although it does have its limits. After a while, the Larvitar spawned just too far away, and I couldn't signal Princess to fight them. Luckily for me though, there is another neat trick I could use in this location. This outbreak location had a river dividing it, so what I could do is fly to the other side and open and close a picnic to reset the Larvitar spawns. If I did this in just the right spot, Larvitar would spawn perfectly on the other side of the river along this line. From here, the plan was to just keep doing that until I knocked out 60 Pokemon, then I could make a sandwich and start shiny hunting. The only problem was that this spawning trick worked a little too well. Wow. That was so fast. I can throw the Pokeball. Yeah, perfect. Yes! This is ridiculous. I didn't even make a sandwich. Okay, there is no way. This was almost too easy. I'm not the type of person to overreact or like fake react to things, so you could maybe tell by my tone that something was a bit off. I was actually disappointed I found this thing so quickly. Maybe I was in shock, but honestly, I didn't expect to find it so fast. I thought this is a challenge that would take a long time. I spent all this time hyping myself up and trying to make this out to be a tough challenge, and I just found the shiny like that. You know what's even crazier though? After I caught the appropriately named line, I hopped back to the other side of the river, and you know what I found? A second shiny. So it's at this point that I realized something was terribly wrong. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your outlook, the Larvitar outbreak I was using for this challenge was an event outbreak that had boosted shiny rates. We're talking about 1 in 200 odds here, and that revelation may be a bit conflicted. On one hand, I completed the challenge quickly by using every tool available to me, which by my standards is typically a success. I completed my goals, so why do I feel empty inside? On the other hand, I felt this was way too easy. I was craving more of a challenge, so it was here that I decided I would wait until the outbreak event was over to try again. I wanted to create a brand new line and run this challenge back. I did this because I wanted more excitement, and boy oh boy did I get it. The second line I created started in East Providence Area 3, that area with all the holes and scaffolding in it. My starting point was this watchtower, so from here I'm going to use the blue and yellow markers on the map, which will leave us with a line that looks like this. This line covers a small portion of Tag Tree Thicket, a very dubious portion of Glassgata Mountain, and my worst enemy, the Leggy Casserole Lake. As I did my first flyover in the new line, I decided to stick with my strategy from the first line. I didn't want to hunt in the oceans, I didn't want to hunt in the lake, and I avoided the mountain as well. This left me with a few areas where I could try and get some outbreaks, so I quickly got the date resetting until the game blessed me with one on my random line. Last time it only took me 3 resets, but this time I confirmed that was dumb luck. I ended up doing 10 times as many to get the outbreak on the line this time around, which took me about 30 minutes. A lot of that time was spent flying between locations to check and see if any were close enough to hunt on. A Charcadet outbreak was what the game gave us, and it was located in Tag Tree Thicket, so let's talk about this Pokemon and that location a bit. I'll try to be positive here. There was a rock and a fallen tree log that perfectly fell on my line. I couldn't walk around it, so I found myself constantly mashing the A button to jump over it 1,000 times. It sounds silly, but that became a bit taxing after a while. It also made it pretty tricky to knock out the 60 Pokemon I needed to boost my shiny odds. All in all, that took me about 15 minutes, mainly because of the obstacles and the fact that Charcadet were spawning much further away this time. Another issue dawned on me as I made my sparkling power sandwich for this hunt. Charcadet is an incredibly tough shiny to spot. It's basically the same, and the only difference I can see is in the eyes. That is the only metric by which I can see if something is shiny or not, and unfortunately, thanks to my luck, every single one that spawned was looking away from me. How on earth am I supposed to see one shine? This was a tough hunt, and to spoil the story a bit, I didn't end up getting it. After about an hour of hunting, or 2 sandwiches if you're using sandwich time, I had to put the hunt on pause because of some real life stuff. This is normally fine to do. The game saves the outbreaks, so as long as a new day doesn't start within your system, I would still have another chance to hunt on this outbreak. Okay, I messed up. You could say reality set in and I didn't make it back to my Switch before the date changed. Sometimes a guy has got a real life. Sometimes you gotta go touch grass and stuff. This kind of stinks though, because I have to find another outbreak. But at the same time, I don't miss trying to find that indistinguishable Charcadet shiny. Life goes on, so it was back to the outbreak date reset grind until I found my target. This went on for about another 10 minutes, and I didn't really have any luck. What happened next though is hard to explain, and looking back, it's almost supernatural. For some reason, I decided to travel backwards along the line towards the East Sea and take a break from date resets. I don't know why I made that decision. I had no reason to stop date resetting or anything to check over there. It was just pure impulse. In hindsight though, this could be seen as divine intervention. Some mysterious force beyond my control in the game compelled me in this direction like a moth to a flame, and this is what happened as I traveled. Hang on just 1 second here. What color is this shiny supposed to be? Roly Holly. Oh, that is a shiny, isn't it? How do I get over there? This is a problem. Do I just wait here for him to meander? Like, you know, because you can't throw balls that far. What am I supposed to do? Do I literally just wait here as long as possible? The Blade is losing his mind. Can't do anything with the picnic because that would reset. Do not want to do that. Traveling too far away will reset spawns. That's not good. Trying to think in my bag of tricks. What can I do? Get over there, or have him come here. That's an option too. Oh, he's just taunting me. Look at him. Look at him just standing right there. This is full odds too. Like, I didn't do any sandwich shenanigans this time. Is this just a lost cause? Well, maybe not, because these guys are kind of getting close. Like, yeah, yes. Keep rolling this way, buddy. This is perfect. No way. Is he gonna roll all the way over here? Oh, a little more. Come on. Yeah. I think I can combat. So we got the 1. No. No, come back. Oh. Oh, no. I know it's possible now. Unfortunately means just literally waiting. Although now he fell asleep. That is not good. Whose idea was this? What was I thinking? And how did I get so lucky the first time to find him literally on the line? Like, this is what I was worried about, finding him in this way, like this, because now I just cannot do anything except wait. I saved. Let me try the old reset. He should be awake when I get back. Oh, it's raining this time. He's back. I think I just have to wait for him to come on over again. It almost feels like I'm waiting for something to randomly path its way over here. It seems like a fool's errand, but it also doesn't feel better than resetting until I get an outbreak this direction. Oh, is he? Yes, maybe. No, he turned around. Oh, is this it? So I think I can save and he'll just slowly get his way over. Okay, so the theory is that because he's this close, I can reset the game, maybe? And he'll be there awake? Maybe. He could also be asleep, which makes me think then I gotta wait. But at least I got him closer, so that's progress? Maybe? Yeah, he is awake. But now he turned around. What if I reset then? Hang on. Does he walk in a different direction, or does he always walk back to the start? Come back! Ugh. So I think if I can encounter Pokemon in the right way at the right time, because look, if this cub comes closer, yeah, if I encounter this stuff at the right angle, I can travel some distance. That's the idea. He sees me. Yeah, so if I encounter him at this, come closer. Come on, come closer. Well, let's try to prove my point here. See, Gallade kind of took my spot, and now I'm closer to the tree. That's the idea. Can I use him to walk over to the shiny? Does that work? Oh, look, I'm almost behind the tree now. This might actually work. I feel like rules-wise, I can't walk now. I can't move from this location. Come on. This is such a complicated mess. I think we're making progress. Come here. No, come back. Maybe the gas will help us out. Or can I throw the ball this far? I can't. I feel like I could not be closer. This is frustrating. I don't want to get rid of the Diglett because I think... Oh, come closer. Come closer. No, come back. This is so brutal. He's just taunting me. Ugh. I could not be closer. Yes! I got it! Oh, thank you. And with that, we have ourselves our shiny Pokemon. I'll be the first to admit that this little technique of using Pokemon encounters to move the player off the line slowly was a bit dubious in terms of following the rules or not. Honestly though, I feel like I finished the challenge earlier, and this second run was a very fun and exciting way for me to wrap things up. I'm pretty satisfied, and I hope you are too. Let me know below if I cheated or not. Also, if you haven't done it by now, you should like this video and subscribe. I'd like to think by this point you were entertained enough and got something out of this. This was a lot of fun, and there's a lot more to come. I'm definitely going to try smaller challenges like this in the future. I had a blast. But until then, you may like some of these videos. Hope you have a great day.